Winter is slowly approaching and Australia's borders are starting to open up again. I know that there are quite a few of you out there who are planning on finally getting out there again to go detecting. This is a good time to write down what you want to bring, what you want to remember, buy, fix, and so on. It only takes little to make a trip fail, or you end up driving around for hundreds of kilometers just to organize something because you forgot. I decided to put together a little guide of preparations you can take care of right now before you actually leave home. My number one point is start a list. My little lists and notebooks definitely help me to stay organized, and I'd probably forget half of the stuff when I go to town if I didn't have it written down. I have lists not only for my food shopping but also to-do lists and order lists, and I've got a hardware list, a vehicle list. I can only recommend to write things down immediately as soon as you know that's what you want to take, or that's what you want to do before you leave, or the car needs fixing, whatever it is. Otherwise, if you forget, it might be a long way back to the next town. Of course, before you leave home, you want to do your research where you actually want to go. There are different very handy online tools these days, and in Western Australia here I use 10graph a lot on the computer here, and on my phone I use an app called Trilobite, or Australian Geology Travel Maps. Very, very handy to have. And I could go more into detail of any of these systems, but a universal thing would probably be to hop onto Google Earth and have a look, where are the old abandoned mines, where has gold been found before in your area, and then work out from there where can you get permission to go detecting or prospecting nearby. To have a handy app on your phone is very helpful, because you can do different overlays on this Trilobite app, for example, where you've got your active tenements visible straight away, you know at all times where you are. You can download different overlays like the geomap or a topographic map. You can have aeromagnetics or the bedrock geology. There are all sorts of different things you can download and use as overlays and work out from there where you want to go detecting. I personally find it easier to research on the computer first. I've got the big screen there. I go to the DMIRS, I use Mindex as well, Waymax. I put all these resources together and all these available ones and research areas where I want to go to before I might apply for a permit, let's say. Also very important, of course, that depends on where you are living. Do you need a permit? You might have to go to the mines department first to get a miner's right. That's the case here in Western Australia. It's actually valid for a lifetime, but it varies from state to state in Australia. So in Queensland you get a fossicus license, and I think it's only valid up to a year. It differs from state to state and from country to country. So it helps to make yourself familiar with the rules and regulations in your area, and then you know 100% what is allowed and what is not, because otherwise it might end up very expensive if you get caught doing the wrong thing. Over here in Western Australia, the 40E permit system is a very handy one. You can apply for it online. You can choose your blocks where you want to go detecting on an exploration permit. Make sure you plan ahead a little while, because it takes a few weeks to get through, but then you've got a few weeks in return to go detecting on that place. Once you've got your target area, it's probably a good idea to check the access, because it's no good having a permit in a place where you can't get to. I look for access tracks in different ways. I use topographic maps online and on my phone as well, and also satellite imagery. Once I see a track on the topographic map, I know, okay, this is the bigger track, and from there I can see smaller tracks on the satellite imagery, and I probably usually have a rough idea already before I even leave town where I'm gonna camp out there. It's just an immense time saver. I've got it ready available on the phone with markers as well for my turn-offs. Also, I recommend having a plan B. It might look perfect on the satellite imagery and in every book that you've read, but in reality the track could be totally different. The tracks might be washed out or something else is going on. So handy to know where you're going, to have a look where you're going to be on the satellite imagery, because otherwise your permit area might be in a completely inaccessible area and you might have to have a helicopter to access that spot. Good fun, done that before. Also, while you're doing your research, remember that you might not be able to get a phone service out in the bush where you're going to be camping. So what I do is I download everything that I need. I might even go through exploration reports. When I know that I'm going to be in an area for several months, I definitely do that. And then I even write down where my main target areas are going to be and where the chances are most likely to find gold once I get there. I do the same thing with satellite imagery because I might not be able to download any while I'm out there. So I usually prepare everything. I've got my Google Earth satellite imagery ready and all the rest of it before I leave town. Before you actually go into the middle of nowhere, it might be a good idea to have a good check over your vehicle as well. Doesn't matter if you're in a caravan or a car or a four-wheel drive, whatever it is, a truck. Just make sure that everything's working, that it's all reliable, because you don't want to be stuck out there in the middle of nowhere. Your vehicle could be your lifesaver. I carry 2 spare tires, I've got radiator hoses, I've got different belts. Just make sure if you need four-wheel drive that your four-wheel drive is working as well, and so on and so on. So I could probably do a whole different video about that. My battery is charged via solar. I only got one small battery at the moment and I'm running a fridge on it as well. I've got my camera gear, my detecting gear, everything charging off that, and it's working fine when the sun is shining. But unfortunately I don't have a generator. It's probably a good idea to do a little test run before you actually head out there to make sure that everything's working. Everything has to be 12 volt as well. And of course, when it comes to your vehicle, you might need a bit of shade, especially in WA where it's very hot at times. You might want to have an awning on your vehicle. Your track might be blocked by a fallen tree or whatever it is. You might need an axe, a chainsaw or a normal saw. I just carry a normal axe just in case. I don't think I've actually used it. It's just good to have it. When packing your car, it's a good thing to remember where things are. It's no good having all the gear and then not being able to get to it because it's packed under some other stuff, or you don't know where it is. It can be very time consuming when you're looking for something essential. It definitely helps to be organized and to know where things are and to have a spot for things. I've had this car for 6 years. I've got a system in it. I know where things are and I got to be organized. Otherwise it would drive me crazy because I wouldn't get anything done. I'd be looking for stuff all day. And also I'm pretty reduced on stuff because I don't want to carry too much either. So when you're packing your car, you might also want to remember where to put your water and how much to take. And you need plenty of water when coming out into the desert country like Western Australia. I carry 130 liters of water currently. That's including my water bottles as well. And usually I keep 20 liters in the car, which I never touch. That's 10 liters for the radiator just in case, and 10 liters for myself just in case. And I probably gotta go to town to do my shopping first before I gotta fill up the water. Your prospecting gear. When it comes to your prospecting gear, it doesn't matter if you're using a detector or if you're panning for gold or whatever you use, just make sure that you've got everything. I also carry spare parts like skid plates, and of course you need digging tools. So just make sure that you've got all your prospecting gear, put it all in one pile while you're still at home. It's good to have an overview there, and even put your digging tools next to it, and then also make yourself familiar with how to work your gear. You don't have to be an expert when you get out there. It's learning by doing. The rest will come while you're out there in the bush, but it does help to know the basics of your detector or whichever gear you're using. It's also handy to charge your batteries before you actually go there. What I usually do is when I get to the camp, I set it up, and then I might even get an hour or two in the afternoons and detect around the camp. So I definitely prefer to have all my gear charged as far as I can, with the sun being available at the moment. When it comes to your digging tools, I don't know if you want to carry a bigger pick around or if your preference would be a smaller pick. I know quite a few people who prefer a handle which is only a foot long. Well, I definitely prefer a bigger head on my pick and a longer handle for digging deeper holes. But if you're working with a STC 2300 or a similar machine, then you know you're not gonna dig massive deep craters, so a smaller pick will probably do the job. I just received this beauty of a pick recently. It was sent to me from Bob from Detected Picks Australia. What a beauty! It's pink! I love it! It's got a really nice long handle, 700 millimeters long, I believe it is. And it's got grooves in the handle for measuring the depth of the hole. They've got smaller picks as well. They've got different sizes, handles, different heads as well. And this actually is a special edition just for me. Bob also sent me this pick head here. That is the standard version of one size of the picks. They've got different sizes, different colors. Go check them out on Facebook. I'll leave a link in the description below. Also, I carry a long-handled shovel. I've got a rake on my roof. I've got a hammer and a chisel. I'm gonna go into my detecting gear and what I carry in my backpack and all the rest of it, the safety gear and all that in a different video. That's when I'll explain more about what I wear as well, and gaiters, for example, a hat. It's not only good to have all the gear, but it's even better to know how to use your gear. If you decide to get yourself a sat phone or an EPIRB or a two-way or a GPS, whatever it is, just take the time at home. You've got the time now to make yourself familiar with your devices and your technical appliances, and then it'll be a quick start out in the bush so that you can start detecting straight away, and you know you're still gonna find your way back to the camp because you know how to work your GPS. Camping gear. It probably depends on how much luxury you actually need out there. I'm probably more the minimalistic camper traveler. When it comes to camping gear, of course, you can get all the bells and whistles. Remember, you also have to bring it out there. Your vehicle has to carry the weight, and you got to set it all up as well. So I prefer it simple and easy, quick setup, and that's me. There's just a few things that are definitely a necessity. For example, a fly net or a fly catcher. If there are mosquitoes, you want some mosquito repellent. Also carry a first aid kit for sure. You got to think about storage again with your camping gear. It's good to have everything, but if it takes forever to look for something, then it's not going to be much fun. So you got to think about storage. Where are you going to keep all that stuff? How are you going to transport it? And then you got to set it all up as well. It definitely helps to carry a lighter for lighting a campfire or lighting a stove if your click thing is broken, like on mine, and also a torch. I prefer a headlamp for at nighttime. I can still use both of my hands. I'm not restricted, and I've always got the light where I'm looking. Oh, that was my ding-a-ling here in the back. Freaking out. But also I've got a spare handheld torch just in case. I just wanted to give you a little inspiration with this little guide, because I know quite a few of you have itchy feet and you are keen to head out there. But just because you can't at the moment doesn't mean that you can't get prepared right now. And hopefully you're going to be safe in and out with pockets full of gold. But even if you don't find gold, your plan B area is waiting for you, while you should also take time to research other potential gold spots. In the next part of this little series, I want to focus on living in the bush, safety, my detecting setup, and the whole process of leaving camp, detecting, and target retrieval. Leave a comment if you can think of anything in particular you want to see. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss out on future videos. Have fun preparing your trips. Stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.